straight losses
Georgia
on the
played
West Coast.
against.
You know what the funny thing is? You called that. If you saw our previous show
do against
and their tight ends, like Dale did super definitely monsters. They're like
six, they can go
6'7", 6'5", 6'9".
And I don't want to
big
be right about like
and they can run like wide receivers. So
they're 500 right now. They're going to be under
when they go against
500.
Alabama.
Good evening, everybody. We are coming at you on this chilly Tuesday evening. We wanted to go ahead and get a show going out here because a lot has taken place since our last show on Saturday morning. So we wanted to go ahead and get ahead of this before these stories died out as the weekend comes along. So we're going to go ahead and jump on here, and we've got a whole list of topics to go through. We hope y'all had a good work day and can join us afterwards to check out the show. As always, like and subscribe. But with it being a long work day and a late evening here, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. I'm going to kick it over to Harish to get us started. I'm Dale. That's Harish talking hats. Let's do this. Let's jump right into it.
All I gotta say is I was right. People were picking Bama. We actually, I shouldn't say I should say we picked Georgia to win. Even though
on the tweet, I admitted that I picked Alabama. Like we both said we were rooting for Georgia, but you picked Georgia. I picked Alabama.
Yeah, because it's one of those things. It's like as Dale was stating in the previous show, it's the do factor. Like they were a do. I mean, they played them tight the first time, but you have to give it up. I mean, RG3 wrote a tweet and I responded. I'm like, I'm deleting my tweet because I don't think it's grammatically correct. It was like really late.
What'd you say?
So he tweeted us, "Oh, this is a boring first half or something."
It was.
Not to me. I love that defensive battle. That was amazing.
True.
Yeah. I mean, because that's what I wanted. Like, because I'm not. So I'll tell everybody my tweet game is 0. So I have no tweet game. I am very, very flawed in that aspect. But what I wanted to say was that defensive matchup kind of made the offensive thing look so amazing because you're battling out both back and forth, and you just wanted to see great offense. And I mean, those hits. I mean, those were like crunching. I mean, you could even hear it like with that full stadium. Jesus.
Yeah, that was a typical SEC like slobber knocker. That was old school. The first half especially was old school. I mean, college football, pro football, whatever. It was just old school football, just back and forth. That was some vicious. That was not for the faint of heart. It was not for teams like Cincinnati, which I know made the playoff, but they were not on that kind of level, and that showed when you had these two heavyweights going back and forth.
Yeah, and I'm glad that in a way that Michigan lost because they would have been blown out by Alabama. I mean, they would have been blown out. I don't think that would have even been a game.
Yeah, probably.
I mean,
I don't know. The stage looked too big for the Heisman Trophy winner. So I don't know how he would have fared against Michigan. I don't know about a blowout, but with him showing those obvious nerves, and that was all throughout the game.
Right.
I'll never say that an Alabama team wasn't prepared. They were prepared. I think the bright lights just got to him. He didn't play like himself at all.
Or give the defense credit for the Georgia defense. I mean, they probably put them in situations because the thing is, if they never played each other, then I can kind of see a little bit of a different scheme. But they played each other in the SEC championship, so they kind of know each other fairly well. I mean, I was kind of shocked that Georgia didn't they didn't implement the 3 tight end set what they did against Michigan, but they did have a little bit of a wrinkle here and there. Maybe they didn't want to do it because it showed too much film. I don't know, but
and they were running the ball fairly effectively without having to go with their beefy package. Like you say, Cook, that dude, I hadn't seen him play, but he's legit.
He's very legit. And then the other one who they have, like he's like 6'8". I mean, that dude, like he is tall. Like, I mean, he's thick body. And I was just like, well, one way, in my opinion, I would have just had him to block because those linebackers for Alabama were just, man, like I've seen speed, but that was on another level, dude.
Yeah.
Like, another level.
And I think even with all the fireworks in the second half, I believe I was most impressed by Georgia's defensive line. Alabama couldn't get anything going. And then the pass rush too. the bright lights and that kind of pass rush is going to make even a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback look fairly pedestrian, which they did. And then Stetson Bennett, he was taking some heat on Twitter in the first half and even on into the second half. But once he got going, man, he looked like he didn't look like any young QB out there. He looked like a seasoned vet. He took charge of that game along with the running game and the defense, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, they all just came together at the right time to close it out
Yep.
and get the championship for the student over the teacher. And it was nice to see that moment they had at the end. Saban was like, "Hey man, y'all kicked our ace, y'all kicked our butts there in the second half." So
I was kind of like that. That was my biggest fear. It was that he wouldn't have played a good game. Like that
I said
was
ace, by the way. I don't cuss. I said ace.
Yes. See, Dale's not. See, I'm the cursor. Dale's not the.
Never have, never will.
Never have. He never will. So I'm trying to be a better man. So I'm trying.
There's nothing wrong with it. I just never got around to it.
But that was my biggest fear, that he wouldn't play well. Like, because the way he kind of performed in other games, I didn't know if we're going to see that Stinson guy. But I'll tell you, I mean, he has an arm. I mean, he has an arm.
Yeah, I mean, tools wise, he can run too. It's not that. It's just some guys have it, and some guys, just like some guys have everything, and some guys, have the talent and just are missing something else. And
Right.
I've heard here after the game that Georgia's going to be heavy in the transfer portal trying to get a quarterback in there. And I was a little surprised to hear that, but I mean, if you're looking for a more consistent play at the position, especially with a program like that, I get
Right.
that. And they're going to have their pick of the litter in the transfer and transfer portal. So if they get a shot to replace him, I know they're going to do it.
So
Like I'm sitting there talking all this trash about Bennett being like young. The dude he's like my age.
he's 40.
Nah, he's 23 though. Like, I mean, I had no idea. I thought I heard that like he was like a walk on or something, but
Yeah, like it's
I
like
was completely wrong. Oh, he was a walk on in
yeah,
2017.
right.
He walked
Wow.
on with Jake Fromm.
Oh, right.
So he's been with
Didn't he
them since then.
transfer?
No, he's been there since then.
Oh,
And he was JT Daniels' backup this
got it.
season. He came into the
Got
season.
it.
And then so he's 23. Is
Wow. Okay.
he a senior?
I think he should be a junior because he left and came back. I don't know. He's
Whatever. I can't figure out he's a senior. Yep. So I guess this is it for him. I was talking all out my butt on this one. I was just completely wrong.
Hey, sometimes it's okay.
So they will be moving on from the quarterback because he's a senior.
Well, what you said made sense. So with the transfer portal, they're looking for a quarterback. That makes perfect sense. Then what you stated, it's just
so with that being the case, they'll be in the portal looking for a QB. JT Daniels, he's 21, junior. But they obviously benched him, so they're going to be in the hunt for a bigger time QB. Bennett, how tall do you think he is? Like just from watching the game last night, because I didn't see this either.
I'll say he's like 6'3", at least 6'3".
He is 5'11".
Shut up.
5'11", 180. He didn't play like that. He didn't play that small.
Wait, he's really 5'11"?
Yeah. So I mean, his football playing career is going to be over after this game, primarily due to that height issue, and with him being older, he's not going to make it to the next level. But he'll make a darn fine coach for somebody.
Oh yeah, 5'11". Because the thing is, what surprised me was like the way he was throwing the ball. It didn't seem like he was 5'11".
Yeah, I should have done my research. I'm sorry about that. Sorry about that. I should have done my research on him, whether or not he was young. I dropped the ball there.
He's still young, man.
I have to make up.
We are.
23
is like a young.
It's young, but for a college QB, like 23, you should be a couple years out. So
that's true. I mean, he took the long way too, right? He was a walk on, then he transferred to a JUCO, and then came back. So I mean, he's got more experience. But yeah, I don't like going to the next level in the NFL. I mean, backup at best.
That's not gonna happen there. I don't think there will be any consideration for him at the next level.
You make him back as Georgia's like
graduate assistant and work his way up the coaching ranks.
Gotcha.
But the walk-on deal is what threw me off completely with that. I thought he was like a walk-on this year or something. So I just I owe y'all one. I'll make up for it. But next up on the slate, we can get into that. Week 18. Well, week 18 NFL action first. That'll lead us into what happened on Black Monday. Yeah. So we had some big matchups with a lot of playoff implications on the line. I was happy to see. Well, before I even go down that road, I'll touch on what led into it with well, the Chargers and Raiders finished up the night, and that was a great game. I don't know if you got a chance to see any of it, but that was a great game, back and forth battle. You know, going into it, if both teams tied, both teams got in. I was thinking, man, there's no freaking way that's going to happen, and it should have happened. It
Yeah.
would have happened if it wasn't for the Chargers coach calling that timeout. The Raiders are
Mhm.
saying they were going for the win no matter what. I don't buy that. They looked like all indications were they were going to run out the clock until
Mhm.
the Chargers called that timeout. And then when they did that, you could see on Derek Carr's face, "Oh, we're going for the win. If they want to play these games, let's end this." They got in field goal range and ended it, and that led to the Steelers making the playoffs. So
Yep. And people don't know, or they may be put on notice as the Raiders are a pretty formidable team.
no, they are.
I mean, they have a decent defense and they have
They have
a
a top five
prolific
QB.
offense. Say again?
They have a top five QB.
They
Going back to
do.
one of our earlier shows where I
They
said
do,
Derek Carr
yes.
was a top five QB, and now
Yeah.
everybody else said I was crazy, and I am. But he's in the playoffs, so let's see what he can do.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I mean, who are they playing?
I
Is it
feel like it's the Bengals. I think
yeah.
it's the
See,
Bengals.
that's going to be a tough matchup because wait, are they going to Cincinnati
It would
or
definitely
Cincinnati?
be in Cincinnati,
They'll be in Cincinnati, right?
and
Okay.
it's the Raiders on Saturday at 4:30 in Cincinnati. The Bengals. Yeah,
Ooh, that'll be a good game to watch. That's
it
one
will
of the.
be. Yeah.
Are you guys doing anything on Saturday?
Not sure. It's hard to predict this far out, but
That's true. Yeah,
we shall
I might
see.
be working, so
Mm-mm.
yeah, yeah, I might be working this weekend, or even
Dang.
even the 3-day weekend. Man, I'll be really a 3-day weekend.
The Patriots and Bills game. Like if I had to miss a game this weekend, it'd be that one. But that'll be a good game too. But then
I
Sunday you
don't know,
got
dude. I don't think the Patriots and the Bills will be the must-see one.
no. That's what
Because
I'm saying. Like if I had to skip a game, it would be that one.
oh, gotcha. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
okay,
as
gotcha.
interested in that game.
Nah, what I'm really interested, the Cincinnati Raiders game is for sure. Dallas has a bye, right?
No, they're playing the 49ers, and that's going to be a great game.
Oh yeah.
I both good teams, both strong running games. But
Look, it's going to come down to the defense, man.
I
It's going
think
to come down to who
Shanahan's a
can
better
stop who.
coach.
Against Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate Mike McCarthy. I'm not a big fan of his. Never. I mean, even when he was with Green Bay, wasn't a big fan. I mean, I think he cost Aaron Rodgers a ring too, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
but I just feel that they're too cocky, and when you're too cocky, things kind of sneak up on you. You don't practice. You think like certain teams are pushovers, and I'm not saying that they'll do that because they're all professional, but it does creep into your mind when everybody, the media, the people around you, so social media especially, be like, oh, they're good, they're so good, this and that.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised if the 49ers come and whoop them.
No, and I wouldn't be surprised because that team, like in the regular season, it's all about scoring and all that stuff. The rules are geared towards offense, but once you get into the postseason, everything changes. It's all about who can run the ball the best and who can play the best defense. The way the 49ers looked against the Rams this past week, that was playoff football. That's how you win championships. That kind of running and Bosa going off. Like the 49ers backfield is deep. They also used Debo Samuel as a Swiss Army knife out of the backfield too. So when you got Garoppolo, who was still hurt, like he was out there dropping dimes, like he was on point for most of the game. He was on point. So if he's playing like that, and then you have that running game and defense too, that's going to be really tough to beat. And as a Washington football team fan, I wouldn't mind seeing Dallas get beat up on a little bit. So I'm looking forward to that game.
Yeah, that'd be a good game. What about Indianapolis, the goose egg against Jacksonville?
Yeah. So you know how I feel about that one. I saw that coming from a mile away because it's Carson Wentz in a big moment. Indianapolis should ease. The Jaguars have the number 1 overall pick. That should have been a cakewalk to the playoffs for them. The playoffs, like you're right there. And all you have in front of you is a high school team. Like and that game was never even close either.
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
so many gamblers lost money on this game because
Oh,
I didn't fully expect them to win, but gambler, I mean, you probably fully expect them to go out there and Jonathan Taylor walk. I mean, just run all over the Jaguars, but Carson Wentz,
I don't think
Carson
they even
Wentz.
ran the ball efficiently against that team.
No, they laid an egg. Carson Wentz played like himself, and they couldn't hide him, I guess, and it was over. Their season is
And
over.
that's why I was so like, I was like, okay, fine. Like, I mean, give credit where credit's due. Jacksonville came in and said, we're going to be spoilers, and they spoiled them. But
I
you
don't
put
even
all
know
this,
if they felt that way. I think them dudes probably came into that game thinking, "Man, I got my vacation planned. I'm ready to get out of here." And then they go out there and they're up against Carson Wentz, and then it's like, "Oh, you mean we could actually win this game, and then we're still going to keep the number one pick? So why not? Let's go
well,
and take the W. Head into
who do you
vacation with
think,
a win."
who do you think they're going to pick number one overall?
Uh, you know,
Is that another show topic?
are you going to say, "Okay, ask me this.
Hmm.
What would you do with the number one overall pick?"
Oh man, for them, specifically for them, I mean, they have a decent line. They have a QB that's okay. I probably might go running back. Probably might go RB, or even maybe. I mean, because their defense is decent. They're not that bad, but it's just that's a toughie, man. That's a real for me. I'll probably get a running back. Probably
No,
get a running back.
they're a pretty atrocious team overall, and I
Yeah,
wouldn't think they would go running back because they drafted a running back in the first round last season, and ATN he just was out
right.
all year because he freaking tore his ACL.
That's
So,
right.
um, you said they have a decent quarterback. I don't see that. The only reason I wouldn't draft a quarterback with the first pick is because everybody's saying this is a light draft for quarterbacks. If
Yeah.
there was anybody though that piqued my interest, I'm drafting quarterback and I'm trading Trevor Lawrence. I don't see it. I didn't see
Mm,
it last year.
mm,
Um, but I'm saying that if I had the first pick last year, I would have drafted Zach Wilson. And how's that turning out? So I
right.
clearly don't know everything. I think Zach Wilson, they both have bad seasons. I think Zach Wilson has more upside than Trevor Lawrence, though.
Yeah.
I don't like him as a QB.
Mm.
Maybe
Is it the hair?
I'm hope
Is it the hair?
no, his hair is fabulous. I hope he proves me wrong because by all
Right.
accounts, he seems like a good guy.
Right.
So I would like to see him succeed. I don't see it.
Mm.
But you know,
See, I think it all depends on who their next coach is.
yeah,
Like if, well, because we'll get into the segment later, but if any of those coaches with a different mindset comes in, that team can turn around pretty quickly. But I would think it all depends on the coach that they hire.
now, if they're not looking at Leftwich, which for his sake, I hope they're not. If they're not
Mhm.
going in that direction, what they need to do is look at a guy like Jim Caldwell.
Oh,
If you're also like people seem to be not giving Bieniemy a shot, fine. I mean, if y'all want to be like that, do what you got to do. But Jim Caldwell is the guy who deserves a shot because he's a proven head coach in
mhm.
this league. He was successful with the freaking Lions.
That's
So
true.
you get
That
him
is
in
awesome.
there. You get somebody who just got fired like Fangio to run the defense. Fangio is a more than competent defensive coach.
Yep.
Get him in there to run the defense. Like that's a strong staff already, and then just
Yeah.
build around that.
Yeah.
You can be successful right away with a
Mhm.
strong leadership team like that.
Yep. Yep. True. True.
Then
Or
we're
if
analyzing
Brett
the
Favre.
Jaguars. So
Yeah. So that's the thing. That's tough, man, because that was a great question. I was just like, well, I forgot ETN got hurt, or else I would have been like, go defense. Just build up your defense with your pick.
yeah,
And
they need
then,
receivers too. So
yeah, they need a lot.
yeah,
Pretty much, they
yeah,
need a whole
they
new
got the
team.
first pick for a reason.
Yeah, it's true. What about the
But
Lions, though?
yeah, I mean, they went in there, finished the season strong for Dan Campbell. Rumors I heard are that
Hmm,
they're not looking quarterback in the draft. They're going to hang with Jared Goff for another season. And
why? That's
of
stupid.
course, we've discussed him on earlier shows. Um, I'm of the mindset that I would go the same direction. I don't hate Jared Goff like most people. Matt Stafford has proven in LA that it was more him than the Lions. I mean, he's just an awful quarterback. Even with that strong team around him, they're as good as they are because they've got such a good team around him, and the Lions
Hmm.
didn't. They couldn't hide him like the Rams can. But I think Goff is adequate at quarterback. If you want to pick a guy like in the later rounds to groom, fine. But going into next season, I'd be perfectly comfortable um, continue to build my defense around golf in that offense. He needs a receiver too. So
Yeah.
maybe go there first and then draft everything else defense. But I'm glad that they got the W for Coach Campbell. They rallied around him all season. Really, their games were close. They lost a lot, but they lost a lot of close games. So
Mhm.
I'm curious to see how they're going to look next season.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah, we touched on the Niners and Rams game. The Niners, that offense looked like a machine. I went through that already. Even without the silverback, Trent Williams, he was out and they didn't miss a beat. I was a
No.
little bit surprised by that. But that was a good game. It was back and forth. The Rams
Yeah.
were up 17-0 at one point. And you would think when you get a running team like San Fran down like that the game is over. But no, the defense got going and they picked it right back up and closed it out. So I was glad to see that for San Fran to get in.
Yeah, and I'm also like kind of glad that that the Rams also lost in the sense that it kind of shows the deficiencies that they really had.
At QB.
And that and also like defensive deficiencies too, because you have to stop them. I mean, you can't
Yeah.
so I mean, they have a stacked line. I'm not saying nothing about their line, but like it has to go to their secondary, even to their linebackers. Because if you look at it, I mean, like with Von Miller and with I mean, they use him more as a DN more than a linebacker.
Well, he sacked Garoppolo late in the game, and when that happened, I turned to Rain and I was like, "Well, this game is over," because it was a big moment, a big sack, and I really thought the game was over at that point. But the Niners, they didn't give up and they
Yeah.
routed around and got the W.
And that's all you need, man. I mean, if you have that rallying call and you just say, and then you can tell by the body language of the players that they're not going to lose this game.
Yeah,
It was, and you didn't see that with
they
the
had the
Rams.
playoffs on the line.
That's true.
So,
I mean, they had to win, and it was just, it is what it is. But I'm happy that 49ers won, so they can
Yeah.
whoop up on the Cowboys.
Yep. I'll quickly, since we're heading back to Denver here soon, like I said last week, I'll touch on the Broncos and their stink fest of a season. They fall to the Chiefs in their last game. No surprise there. Surprised that the game was close, but they close out their season. They end up firing Fangio. So you know, they, immediately they put in an interview request for the Packers offensive coordinator. So we all know where that's going.
Yep.
Um, with Aaron Rodgers hopefully coming to town. I really see that playing out, especially with them making that kind of move already. So I think all signs are pointing in that direction. Nothing can really get going because the Packers are still in it. But as soon as they lose, I think this thing is really going to pick up some steam here. And so I think they're going to go in that direction next season. But that's enough about them because they stink. I'm sure Fangio will get a job here soon.
Yeah, he won't be out for long because sometimes like some coordinators are just not meant for being head coaches. They're just good coordinators and stick to that. And it's just when you become a head coach, you have to know how to do game planning for everything and organizing and personality. Sometimes it's just too much for individuals. And also maybe is this his first head coaching gig?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, it was a learning curve for him too. So sometimes it's
No, I think it's first and last. I can't see him being a head coach again.
Mhm.
But even though he's old, he's still got many years left in the league as a D coordinator. Because the Broncos defense, even after trading Vaughn, after having injuries to Surtain and other guys, Alexander Johnson, their middle linebacker, was out for a good portion of the season. He's a great player. Even with all these losses, the defense was they stayed relevant, they stayed good, still highly ranked even at the end of the season. So he proved his mettle as a D coordinator. He'll get a job soon.
They just need a QB.
Yeah, and that's going to happen. It's unfortunately he couldn't stick around to coach him, but that's going to happen. To take us into our next, what we touched on earlier with Black Monday, the Dolphins closed out their season with a win over the Patriots, and they missed the playoffs by one game. I think they finished up after they started off like 1-7, they finished up like
8 and something,
8-1 or something like that.
Yeah, it was crazy. They went like,
but and then the idiots fired Brian Flores, who immediately jumps to the top of the list for coaching candidates. So that should tell you that you made a mistake. Players loved him. I don't even you go ahead and get going because
okay, listen, like you can't fire somebody when he was 2 years into his contract, not even. Like
2 years.
Let's and not let the team grow. The team rallied around him and won 8 games. You know how difficult it is to win in the NFL
with Tua as his quarterback.
that's not on him. I mean, he has to coach his talent, and he coached
Right.
his talent to the point where they want to make games. But I see, this is why certain teams like the Dolphins will never win a Super Bowl ever again, because of the stuff that they do. Like, you can't just, you should always have a coach for 3 years, at least max 3 years to 4 years, to see what the progression is. If there's no progressive, then you got to think about, okay, if he's getting to the 4th or 5th year, you got to cut ties after that, but not year 2.
Yeah, and I watched a good bit of that Patriots game. Let me ask you this. Can you name one player on the Dolphins defense?
No,
Me
I
neither.
don't.
I watched the game. I can't name one player on that defense. And that defense was excellent.
Yeah.
And so what does that tell you? That's the coach. For them to fire a guy like that, it just shows you that the organization is rudderless. They don't know what they're doing. They fire him. They're going to bring in another coach who's not going to have any success due to the fact that to me, they're more of a joke than the Washington football team as an organization. They're more of a joke than the Bears, who actually got rid of Ryan Pace and all his mistakes. I don't understand. I don't get it. And a lot of players have come out in support of Flores too. And
Mhm.
everybody's bringing up the issue of white coaches get more of a
Mhm.
a longer leash than black coaches. And that everybody is you hate to go there like right away, but what is something like this? Like, what is that? I mean, it's painfully obvious. Like
Mhm.
he had success here, and they get rid of like it. They deserve what they're going to get, and what they're going to
Mhm.
get is more failure. So
Yeah. See, it's hard because, like, when you see it, you're like, this doesn't make any sense. Because even in college football, like, you had really good coaches and they get fired a lot sooner than, certain ones. You're like just scratching your head. As you said, I hope it's not that. If it is, then there needs to be some, overhaul. Like, there literally needs to be some sort of, like, investigation done. Because at the end of the day, if you're taking your team, which was, you were 1-7 and you won 8 straight games, and you get fired after that, like, what did he curse out the owner or something? Like, what did he do to get himself fired? Like,
there is
no one knows.
speculation, which is probably just spin from the team that he didn't get along with the GM. Um, Whatever. If a successful coach like that doesn't get along with the GM, by GM,
Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
bye. We'll find another one. There's
and
plenty
I'm
of young
surprised
talent
that
out
the
there.
owner didn't step in and be like, hey guys, you know what? Well, some owners are idiots, so it's not like I shouldn't say, but
The Dolphins owner
but
is an idiot.
yeah. Well, he's a new owner, right? Because the old owner sold, or is there's some maybe I'm confusing, maybe that because this happened a long time ago too. Maybe because I just don't remember. Like, dang, I knew something
Stephen
with the
Ross,
owner.
yeah, he's an idiot. He's been there for a long time.
Okay,
He's a dang dummy.
yeah, because, like, I don't know. I don't want to get my blood pressure riled up because of that firing. It's like that one person who doesn't deserve to go. That was him, because next year they would have made the playoffs. Hands on, next year they would have made the playoffs.
And this is all speculation, but there was speculation that Deshaun Watson was interested in the Dolphins only because of Brian Flores. So you
Mm,
fire him, Deshaun Watson is not coming there.
no.
So
To touch on Deshaun Watson,
mhm.
um, have you heard anything about the case? I haven't heard anything about no cases after it started coming out. So,
No, and it's not. There was never really any cases. There's just
right,
some lawsuits, which aren't going anywhere because I mean,
where's the
there's
proof?
no proof.
That's,
So
see, that's the thing. I mean, this is what upsets me the most. Like, I don't want to get on a tangent here. It's almost like you almost, oh, I mean, you pretty much did ruin a person's career without even knowing all the facts. You can have anybody come up out of the woodwork and say, oh, they did this, they did that. But that's why we have a judicial system. Even though I think it's here and there, it's not the best, but we still have a judicial system. Go through that, and whatever they say, that's the decision you should make on. You shouldn't bow down to a lot of these individuals who think, oh, he should be off the team, this and that. Like, where are you protecting your guys? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, if you're going to do something like that, you better well have damn proof that they did something atrocious to let them go. Because at the end of the day, he can come back and probably have a lawsuit against the team for wrongful termination.
well, he's a dang dummy for messing around with Instagram models who are nothing but opportunists. He should have known from the start that when you
Well,
if you mess around with dogs, if you lie with dogs, you wake up with fleas.
mhm,
And I mean, what do you expect? Like, what do you expect? I
right,
mean,
right.
he's going to learn a lesson from this. Hopefully other players can learn from his mistakes. I don't think they will. I don't think this stuff is going to keep happening, but hopefully, we'll
Yeah,
see.
because
But
he's a good quarterback. I like Deshaun Watson. Like I was like,
man, to me, he's Carson Wentz. We've talked about that on the previous show too. I think when Chris was on the first time, I don't love him as a QB. But other teams, like that's just my opinion. Teams see him as a franchise quarterback though. So your opinion of him is valid. If teams view him as a franchise quarterback, I'm just being a hater,
yeah.
and I don't have any
See, the
say
thing
in any
is,
of this stuff. So
it's like Michael Vick. Like if he can have somebody teach him how to play quarterback, he can be a very good quarterback. I don't think no one has taught him how to be a quarterback because the coaches that were in Houston were all doo-doo. They're all so bad.
yeah. And the fact that has had success as a player in the league, it's hard to
Right.
say anything to a guy who has had it's hard to say anything to Lamar Jackson. You can't tell him, hey man, you need to get better as a quarterback. How can you tell that to him when he's won an MVP? Like Deshaun Watson has been to the playoffs. How can you
Right.
say to him, you need to change this and this and this? It's hard to say that. But
Right.
he's the kind of quarterback that thinks he needs to make the play. The quarterback never needs to make the play. The quarterback needs to run the play. You run the play that's called. We don't need you to be out there running around making plays. If the pocket breaks down, throw the ball away. Just run the play I call. You're the point guard. Distribute the ball. That's all I want my quarterback to do. I'm not a running quarterback guy. So I don't like quarterbacks like that. It's not a racial thing because I'm black. I don't like running quarterbacks. That's not my thing. So
I only like it like it's like this. If you have an opportunity to run, go ahead and run. If you don't have an opportunity to run and you see kind of like you have nothing, don't do the dummy play. Throw it out of bounds, live to fight another day. If you can get 5 yards, go get the 5 yards. What's the point in throwing the ball away? You know what I'm saying? I will say this, like we both are very old school, traditional, pocket passers, because the only reason why I'm saying that is if you don't know how to slide, you shouldn't be running.
RG3.
Say again?
RG3.
Oh, I'll tell you this. If he knew how to slide, he will still be in Washington. He will still be in Washington.
Yeah, and it sucks that he's not still in the league. I
Yeah.
believe that ship has sailed too. He's not going to get another shot, and that
His
sucks.
tweets are like, "I want to come back." I'm like, bro, I don't think so.
And it doesn't really make sense from just a strictly football standpoint because there are worse quarterbacks than him in the league right now.
Yeah.
But it's good that he's having some success on television because the league is just that they're
He's
blackballing
he's
him.
meant for TV.
Yeah, he is. Oh yeah.
I mean,
It was cool to see
he-
him and Andrew Luck
Yes.
on TV the other night.
Yeah, dude, have you seen the new recent picture of Andrew Luck? I was
Yeah, he was
shocked.
on TV with RG3 last night. They were doing.
Was he really? Because
yeah.
I saw a picture of him from one of the tweets that we did, and we kind of refollowed. I was just like, is he okay? Like he looks a lot skinnier than he. Like I was like, is he?
Somebody
did he stop
commented
eating?
that he looks like a high school math teacher or something, and RG3 looks like a
Yeah.
lawyer because he had on this
Yeah.
suit, and Andrew looked like he looked like a teacher.
Yeah,
He doesn't. He used to be jacked, like he was a
Mhm.
big stocky type
pretty
quarterback.
stocky. Yeah,
Now he
Mhm.
looks like he's just
just a regular dude.
old man out fishing.
I heard he's a really
Yeah.
nice guy.
Yeah, yeah, like on mic'd up, it's like when he was mic'd up during games and stuff. Like when he would get tackled and sacked and stuff, he used to say to whoever tackled him, "Hey, nice tackle, man, nice play." Like he was very complimentary. Like in the heat of the moment, like he was
Yeah.
like that. See, he seems like a genuinely nice guy.
Yeah, like Tim Tebow, I can
Glad
never
he's
get
happy.
angry at him. Yeah, I like as much as I don't like Tim Tebow, you can't hate Tim Tebow. You know what I'm saying? Like I like Tim Tebow as a person. He's such a really good dude.
Yeah, as a
And-
person, yeah, no question about it. As a
Yeah.
QB, though, I'm not interested.
Well, you should have been happy against the Pittsburgh Steelers in that game when he threw that touchdown pass.
Yeah, I mean Eddie. Yeah, that pass he threw to Eddie was the best. That touchdown pass he threw to Eddie was the best pass he ever made in his life.
Wait, was that Eddie?
If you're talking about the Demarius play, like that was at the end of the game. He threw a touchdown pass to Eddie
Oh.
earlier in the game. He dropped a dime. Let me see if I can find it. I'll screen share. You talk. I'll find it. That was a great play.
Yeah. I mean, because with Tebow, like the thing is I like about Tebow is you have to you need those kind of individuals in your locker room. That's what I feel. I feel that you need good guys like that. to kind of like a Derek Carr, like what Derek Carr did in Oakland to Henry Ruggs III. You need individuals like that
You
because
see, Derek Carr is Tebow with talent.
Mm.
Like he's that kind of a guy that he can actually play the position.
That's true. That's true. Isn't he? He's the younger brother of
David. Mhm.
David Carr, right? Yeah.
Yep.
I will still say this to this day. David Carr would have been a good quarterback if he had an offensive line in front of him. That poor man.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, no question about it. They set him up to fail. And
Yes.
to me, the same thing happened to Andrew Luck, but Andrew Luck,
Mm.
for the most part, was able to overcome it. Indy never solidified their offensive line during Andrew Luck's 7 years there, and Andrew Luck's body paid the price. Like he
Yeah,
had a
that's true.
ruptured spleen at one point. Like his body, they tore him apart. They ran
Yeah,
him into
he
the
did.
ground. He was like, enough.
See, this is where I kind of differ from a lot of people picking QBs and all that stuff. They're like, oh, the QB is like the field general. I'm like, well, you have to have somebody to protect them in front. Okay, like you can be the
Yeah.
general all you want, but if you don't have people in front of him that are very knowledgeable in blocking, you're gonna have a QB on his butt. And
Well,
situations
they
like
had a bad line, and like I said, they never drafted the position.
Yep.
But then, like as soon as they lose him, I guess hoping
Yeah.
he would come back, they start drafting there. And now they have the second best offensive line in football. That's why
See,
Jonathan Taylor had such a good
and
game.
that's why it irritates me. They should have
Yeah.
beaten Jacksonville just by running the ball.
Yeah, if they had this line with Luck, he'd still be playing.
Yes.
So-
Oh, and I think that's the reason why he retired. Like, I mean, like he probably was like, I can't take this. I mean, a
No,
rush is
yeah,
clean.
definitely.
like, I mean, he made his money, man. I mean, you can't. I mean, he
So I'm
has
gonna-
he has that money. So
Yeah, and they honored his contract too, which I give them
Mm.
huge props and credit for that, because they didn't, when he retired, they did not have to give him another penny. They paid
No.
him his full deal, and they had just given him a new deal over 100
Yeah.
million, and they gave
the
him all of
Ursays
it.
are not well liked in Baltimore for what they did.
Yeah.
So I mean,
But that's a class move.
Yeah, that was a very. I mean, I didn't. I mean, it shocked me. I mean, because they're very they're very shrewd business individuals.
Yeah.
So when they did that, and I kind of put like a small check mark, but like, all right, you may get on my Christmas list for Christmas card.
Yep. So I'm gonna, like I said, I got this video set up here. I'm gonna share my screen. This is the best pass of Tebow's career here. Let me share the screen and get the sound going. You can see the screen.
Yeah.
Share sound. Alrighty.
Was this in the playoffs, right?
Yeah. this is the
Challenge. It
Steelers
was
game.
incomplete. Decker, however, one of Tebow's favorite targets out of the game. Second quarter, which has been a bugaboo
Oh,
for
dang
the
it, that's
Denver
not it.
Broncos.
But that was a great pass
run.
too. But the touchdown is coming next year.
Not so
That
much
was
as
another pass
Tebow
to
finds Demarius Thomas for 51 yards.
So
The
here we
first
go.
30-plus yard completion allowed on third down
Look
by
at
the
this pass.
Steelers all season. And then Tebow finds
at
Eddie
that
Royal 2 plays later, touchdown.
Tim Tebow looks off the free safety, so he can't get down the right sideline. He pops this thing up over the top of the defender, perfectly thrown, touchdown.
Wonderful
LeBeau
job,
has to be puzzled because he's calling the correct defenses, but the defensive.
You know what? Nowadays, if that was done now, I don't know if that would be a catch.
No, he was. Yeah, because
Who's in?
let me go back to this so y'all can see what I'm talking about here. I believe he had an elbow and a butt cheek down. That's all you need.
Oh,
all
it
you
was
need
elbow
is
and butt cheek? Okay.
elbow or a butt cheek.
Well, because the reason why I said that is everybody whoever has that stuff, they're like, oh no, it's an
by the
incomplete
Steelers
pass.
all
And you're like,
season, and then Tebow finds
He had a
Eddie
knee down,
Royal
too.
2 plays later,
all you need.
touchdown.
Tim Tebow looks off the free safety, so he can't get down the right sideline. He pops this thing up over the top of the defender, perfectly
Oh yeah,
thrown,
he had a
touchdown.
butt cheek, yeah,
Yeah, so
He
he
had
had
butt
a
cheek.
cheek and a knee. So
cheek and the knee, yeah.
you only need one. So that pass, that was a dime. Dropped it right in there. But of course, a touchdown pass at the end.
But still, that pass in the end was different compared to that because in the end, I don't think Demarius Thomas was covered. I think he was wide open.
He was fairly open, and he caught. Well, I'll give Tebow credit for the fact that it was right in stride, and Demarius was able to use his speed and break out, and
yeah,
the rest is history.
Yep, that was actually a really good playoff game. Actually, I have
It was
to admit.
best game. I've been to hundreds of games in my life, and that was the best game I've ever been to. It was a battle back
Really?
and forth. That's number one for me.
Even from Chicago?
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yep.
Dang.
Well,
that's
oh,
crazy.
yeah, it was a close second. Was the Chargers played Philly
Yes.
in Philly? That was a great game too, back and forth battle. And Eddie scored 3 touchdowns in that game. But I was Vic and Deshaun Jackson were going off. Like to see Vic and Vic at his peak, like dropping bombs. That was the sight to see. I'm glad could be there for that.
Yeah, Phillip Rivers, man. Like, I would have, you know what? I would have taken his thing and be like, "Hey, do you want to start instead of Carson Wentz?"
See, and they were in talks to bring him back. I mean, I bet now they wish they would have brought him back. I'm sure he would have been able to perform. I'm sure he would have, even after being out for the whole season. I'm sure he could have beat Jacksonville.
Oh, easily.
Wow.
So those kind of games that you lose get you fired. Okay, like if you have to go win it and it, that gets coordinators fired. That gets GMs fired.
A black coach would have gotten fired. So, yeah. But I think we've hit on everything NFL as far as the games go.
You want to go to the hoops?
Flores got fired. Well, we didn't really get into Black Monday too much. We touched on Flores getting fired, Fangio getting fired. Rule somehow still has a job.
Wait, Rule has still a job? I thought he was going to go. I thought they were talking about that.
Weirdos. But I guess if you like losing, do what you got to do. Joe Judge, like you said, got fired. Zimmer and the GM there got fired in Minnesota. Curious what those last two teams we mentioned are going to do about their quarterback situations. The Vikings just re-upped Kirk, I think, last season, added 2 years on to his deal.
That's not a good move.
No, and then Daniel Jones has a year before. I think they have to make a decision here whether to pick up his 5th-year option. I think he has one more year and then the option year.
I wouldn't pick up his option.
Heck no. That's a $21 million option.
He's not worth $21 million.
No.
I'm sorry. Like, he's not. Like, maybe $2 million, but not 21.
He's worth it if you're fine with where they are. If you just want to stay in the basement of the NFC East, like I keep saying, do what you got to do. But if it's me, I'm moving on from coach, QB, GM. Like, it's time, man.
You just got.
It's not a QB draft, but they got to do something. Maybe Russell Wilson will want to come there. It's New York.
Oh, well, because of his wife?
Yeah. She wants to go to a big-time media market. I mean, so that makes New York an option.
Oh, yeah. Well, anybody in the he can come to Washington.
I don't like from the strictly football standpoint. I don't think it would be a bad move for him just because you've got a solid defense, you've got a solid defensive coordinator, a defensive coach. They could probably use like one more weapon at the receiver position, but when it comes down to being a media market, DC is not. I think it's around top 10. I think it's around 10 or so, maybe 8.
Like, what do you mean by like top media? Like where there's a lot of like coverage and stuff?
Well, LA, New York, Chicago, giant media markets.
That's what you're saying. Gotcha.
Like any place that has 2 teams, that's a massive media market.
Yeah, so. Jeff Bezos owns Washington Post.
Yeah, but
I know.
But
I'm just
it's like even when the team is winning, nobody really supports the team here anymore. The media is a factor in the fact that it's always bashing the team, but and for an entertainer like his wife, I don't think being here would help her career at all. Like you want to be in New York or like I say, LA or Chicago.
Mm-hmm. But you want to switch over to hoops and talk about our homeboy?
Who's our homeboy? Kuzma?
Al Kuzma.
Yeah. So they beat the Magic a couple nights ago. Close game for some reason. Who knows why? But Kuzma had a monster game. He's definitely doing his part with 27 and 20. Just a massive game. And ever since I've been talking about him being the face of the franchise, he's been going off. Ever since I sent him that tweet, I feel like he read it. And he's been playing like that guy. So, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen a Washington Wizards get a 20 boards in a game. I mean, Russell Wilson had like maybe 10 or maybe even 11, but to get his triple doubles and all, not Russell, I'm sorry, Russell Westbrook. God, but to get 20 boards in a game, I think you got to go back to the original 3 with not Juwan Howard, but with Gilbert Arenas. I
think Jameson was the last person to do it.
Yeah, and Jameson. Yeah,
he was the last one after 2020.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you know what though? If I was the Wizards, I'll just call Agent Zero, man. I love Gilbert Arenas. If he can come play, hey, I'm all.
Look, that's not a crazy thing to say with all these other players getting deals. Um, I mean, all these 10-day contracts are galore. Surprised they haven't offered me one yet. I would add some range to that offense because, like I always say, my shot is second to only Steph's. I'm right there with Clay, so I can't move like I used to, but
For
I
those
can
of you who
pull up
don't
from
know,
half court.
Dale has an in with 3-point contest. He's a special guest at the 3-point contest this year for the NBA for the NBA All-Star game.
Should
So
be. I'm a sniper.
if the NBA is watching, if you want to give us some press passes, we're more than happy to come and cover certain people if you want us
Someday,
to.
especially with your wife's into photography, I'm into photography, so someday we'll get some kind of media credential and at least go down and take some pictures.
Or interview players. That
I
should
don't even
be
know how to do all that stuff. I've kind of tried to look into it here and there, but it's like it seems like such a process that I kind of lose interest after like 5 minutes of looking at it. I don't know.
nah.
Yeah.
All we have to do is get into the after parties or the parties. I don't care how old I am at that point. I do not care. I just want to go and be like, hey, at least I did it once.
Yeah, I would be in there like at this point in my life, I would get in and have a
Leave
couple
an hour
drinks and then
after.
be sitting in the corner like this. Like,
Oh yeah. I'll be like, Dale, let's go
what's happening?
home. Dale, it's time to go home. Like, how
Yeah,
long have we been here? Like 30 minutes. Let's go.
I'm not like the song says, I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. So I can party one night, but then after that,
Yeah.
that's one night a year. You can get that out of me. That's it.
But I think the struggles with the Wizards is not their offense, it's their defense, because their defense leads to their offense. And I think they don't control the ball. Like as you stated, slow it down, but I think they make ill passes where they shouldn't be making ill passes. This team is too veteran to do all that stuff. But as when we said in our story, I don't think they have that veteran mentality yet. And I don't want to poo-poo on Bill, but I don't think he should be handling the ball anymore, as I said in the last segment. But
So as I'm watching here tonight, Dinwiddie is the primary ball handler, and for some reason they're tied. Well, OKC just took the lead. It's
what's the quarter?
58-56 in the second quarter. I'm not sure why they're struggling with them. You would hope they would come out there and take control against the G League roster, but I think for them, I think their offense should lead into their defense. I think them slowing the game down on the offensive end would help them with all the size they have. If they had more control on offense, defensively teams will struggle more against them. But when you're out here trying to run and keep up with teams, with the team with so much size like they have, they're going to get outrun by smaller teams, and that appears to be what's happening here tonight. As I'm watching, Harrell's back tonight. Rui's out there on the floor right now. With
Nice.
Kuzma and KCP. That's the lineup on the court right now. But
That's not a bad lineup though.
it's a good lineup, but it looks like they're just not playing the right way right now. And they're also missing a bunch of shots. I see they just missed a couple layups on the other end here, and OKC just scored again. So, I don't know. This team is perplexing. But the good thing is they're getting healthy here. Rui just got aboard. It's good to see him back on the court. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how this goes and with everybody coming back, they got to get the chemistry back too. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt here tonight even though it's OKC, you got guys back in the lineup who haven't played in weeks. So you got to feel this thing out.
You think they're going to make a trade by the trade deadline this year?
I still want to see them move Bertans. That's the trade I want to see. Are they going to do it?
That's another.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. If I had to guess, I'd say no. Shepard might feel like he wants to stand pat with this team and see them continue to gel. I don't feel like Bertans has a place on this team, and he also makes a good bit of money too. So I'd just like to see them move that. There are contenders who could use a guy like him. This team doesn't need him because they have other guys who can fill that role.
True. Yeah.
So we can get into Clay Day. The other night I was watching the Warriors game, and Clay made his comeback, his triumphant return to the court after 2 years. Looked like he didn't miss a beat. He was out there. He missed. I mean, he started off, the adrenaline's pumping, so he had some clanks on his first couple of shots. But once you see the first one go down, like after that, he was Clay. And then on the defensive end, he did his thing. It's hard to see the Warriors losing another game.
Yeah.
like regular season or I mean, the playoffs is a different animal, but in the regular season, I'm sure they'll lose again, but it'll be because they're resting guys. They won't lose the
I
game
think
at full strength.
Yeah, I think this may be their last hurrah, like with Clay and with Curry, with Steph Curry and all that, because I think their contracts are kind of may get them into a little bit of a challenge to kind of maneuver things around. But
Yeah, I think with the way their roster is constructed with Clay, Draymond, and Steph making the
Mhm,
most money on their deals right now, the rest of the guys around them, due to the fact that they were so bad the past couple of seasons, they
mhm,
were able to get guys in through draft picks on cheaper
mhm,
deals. And you've got a guy like Gary Payton II from the G League out there. These guys aren't on expensive contracts, and then that runs
mhm,
over into next season. So
right.
they could have a run this season, win it all, and then just be right back out there next season without having any major losses because of the
That's
fact that everybody's so young. You've got
right.
Poole, he's young. Toscano Anderson is young. Looney, I'm not sure what his
Mhm,
contract situation is looking like, but you've also got Wiseman there. So I mean, and then they're also in talks to I mean, they'd have to do like a sign and trade or something, but
right.
to get Ben Simmons,
Oh
there
shit.
are talks for that. I don't love him. I've talked before. I don't like him as a player or really as a person, but
Mm,
he would fill like if they wanted to move on from Draymond, he'd fill that role perfectly.
yeah, that'd be a tough role though if he's saying that he doesn't play defense. Draymond plays defense, so
No, Ben Simmons prides himself on his defense primarily. He
mm,
considers himself the top defensive player in the league. So whether he is or he isn't, just the mindset, knowing that he values that role,
mhm.
um, I would take that in consideration when thinking about whether or not you're going to move on from a guy like Draymond. So
Makes sense. Makes sense.
yeah,
So you want to get into the hockey, or you want
man, the Caps.
to?
I thought they were. I put like $1 on them to beat the Bruins last night. I thought they'd go out there and handle that. They got off to a good start. They were up 2-0, and they had
Okay.
a couple of. They had a power play after that, and they still end up losing the game 7-3. Fukali had a bad game. He got pulled.
Mhm,
Vanacek went in, but we touched on this I think last week or the week before that they've got to shore things up on the defensive end. The defense kind of hung him out to dry. He had a bad game, but he was also put in some bad spots by some turnovers in the zone. So we said before that they need to make a move there. They definitely do if they want to be a serious contender for the cup. They've got
yeah.
holes on that side. They need to make a move. They've got depth at goalie with Vanacek and Samsonov. So I probably maybe if you can get a quality player, I'd look to move one of them to get a quality defender in there.
Oh yeah, you have to. I mean, you can't lose 7-3. You just can't. I mean, I mean, not
Not up to being
not
up
at
to
home.
nothing.
Yeah, being up 2-0, and even like even almost kind of. I mean, they got blown out in the second, just almost in the second and third period. They just got blown out.
Mhm.
So I mean, I can understand losing on the road because you're traveling, you're coming, you kind of settling in. But when you have that momentum, they played really well in the first period, and then I just don't know what happened. They just defensive
Yeah,
lapses, kind of like mentally, it's almost like they kind of checked out.
no, they were full on in attack mode. Once they scored once, it was like sharks smelling blood in the water. They were attacking that goalie like nonstop. And there was the announcers were like it's getting to a point where they might have to pull him. But after those two goals and after they failed on a power play, like it was after that the Bruins
Yeah,
took charge and never looked back. I think there
yeah.
was a fight in there at one point. Marchand or
Rashawn,
I think one of them one of their guys was bloodied. And then
yeah, Rashawn was
I
bloody.
guess that
Yeah,
lit the fire under them. They took control, put the game
yeah,
away.
yeah. He's a gnat. Like that's all he does is try to bother you and try to like get underneath your skin. He'll do certain things, and he's not a very. I don't know. He doesn't seem like a very good person.
Yeah, I know hockey talk is not a ratings getter, but that's my team. So
Yeah,
you can once every couple of weeks y'all can bear with us on that.
yeah.
Um,
We can throw a little bit here and there. I mean,
yeah.
we watch a lot more games than we can talk because we don't know too much about it. But hey, we know enough to hold a conversation.
Yeah, I can't escape, but I know what I'm talking about. God dang it. I like hockey. Um, we can go. We've been going for about a good while here.
Yeah,
We can go in and wrap things up with the saying farewell and safe home to Bob Saget.
yeah,
Like I tweeted out earlier, I grew up with Full House, and my wife got me into the Fuller House reboot on
mhm,
Netflix. So he's the dude he's been a part of my life for a long time. I used to listen to him on Howard Stern here and there too. Seemed
Yeah.
like a very funny guy. And all the tweets and stuff coming out about him, just a sweet man. And I hate to see him go out like that, but it seemed like there at the end he was happy by judging by his last tweet.
Yeah.
It sucks that he had to leave us, but he seemed like he was on top of the world and happy. And
Mhm.
I hate that his family had to, deal with the loss. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Same, man. Like
prayers to his family.
yeah, it was just it was because one of my friends was like, "Hey, Bob Saget passed." I'm like, "What? Like that's no way." And what a lot of people don't know is just like, when you hear news like that, you just have to like you go. I went straight to Google, and he was like, "Oh, I was like, he didn't pass away." He's like, "Nah, dude, go to TMZ." Went to TMZ and they broke the story, and I'm like, "Man, dude, that's rough." And like
He
as
sent out a
Dale
tweet
said,
at like 2 a.m., man. And then
yeah, I know that's just. I mean, I just hope. I mean, the thing is, I just hope that I don't know. It was rough. Like when you said
Yeah.
something at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then it's just, and you find out that kind of news the next day, and throughout the day, it's kind of like a somber thing. Like with Dale said, we all grew up with him. I mean, we watched Fuller House, and then what people don't know this is I didn't notice this. His comedy is raw. Like
he
it
works
is.
blue.
Yeah, he's you wouldn't bring your kids or your grandma to the shows, but that's what made Bob Saget, right? Like he knew how to play a very good father, and he also knew how to take jokes, and and he was a very great comedian. Rest in peace, Bob Saget. Peace to you, condolences to your family and all to everybody who have known you, and hopefully we can remember you from all the great memories you provided us as children, as growing up in the 80s and early 90s.
Yeah, and rest in peace as well to another legendary actor who left us here in the past week, and Sidney Poitier. I'm old, but I'm not old enough to really remember his career like that. I may have seen him in a couple movies here and there, but definitely left his mark on acting and the African American community. So rest in peace to him. Prayers to his family, and thank you for the contributions he made to mankind as well.
Yeah.
2022 is just
Came out with
it's coming out. It's 2022 chose violence. Hopefully this calms down here. I can't take any more loss here, but just praying for safety for everybody.
Yeah.
Y'all be safe out there with this Omicron and COVID and all that. Don't take any risks.
Just relax and chill.
Do what you got to do with the vaccine. Make your own choice. But
just take a seat
be
back,
safe.
have a cocktail or any of your favorite beverages.
Stay home and enjoy some football.
Exactly, football or any kind of thing with your loved ones.
Yeah.
So on that note, we would like to say thank you for joining our show this evening.
Yes, indeed.
We went through so many topics, so many conversations. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Please comment.
Follow us. We follow back 100%.
Yeah. Yes. We're on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, as you guys can know.
Email.
So comment. We'll have tell us how we're doing. If you like something, if you don't like something, we're open to any kind of criticism. We're here for you guys. Pretty much we're here for you.
And hit us up. You can feel free to come on with us. We'll loop you into the Zoom. We can have back and forth. If y'all disagree with any of our opinions and hot takes, we can have a battle about it. Feel free. We'll loop you in anytime. We're here for you. But that's all we got tonight. We'll do a weekend show. Maybe we can have David on to handicap the weekend games. Throw some bets at us. He threw a couple of bets at me. He had Cooper Kupp's over for his yardage. He had Pittsburgh, I think, winning, and there was another one that I didn't even think about that he threw at me that I bet and won. Oh, San Fran. I wouldn't have bet San Fran. He liked San Fran to win. I threw that bet there and I won that. So he's hot right now. So he can come on and give y'all some picks too this weekend. So maybe we can get that going too. We'll see how that goes. I'll ask him if he wants to come on. So, but that's all we got for you tonight. So we can go ahead and wrap things up. Take us out.
All right, guys. Thanks again. Peace and love for everybody. I'm Harish. That's Dale. Talking Hats out.